comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
In 1960, the Beatles were confirmed in Liverpool as the Quarrymen by John, Paul, Ringo, and me, and rapidly became the most iconic, prominent, and influential phenomenon of the 20th century's music. At the height of our worldwide recognition, frenzy crowds greeted us everywhere, and girls screamed and cried in every presentation. It was kind of weird. With the Beatlemania, great controversy and anger existed against us as well. Anyway, we were at the top of the world, and our LPs, Please Please Me with the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, and Rubber Soul were undisputable hits. 1966, following an exhausting concert tour, it was time to start composing new songs. Although Paul had got a recent explosion of creativity in reaction to the massive opinions received in USA, on November 9 of that year, we began a recording session at Abbey Road Studios. Around midnight, Paul assumed a position of agitation and disagreed with the vague posture of John in regard to the lyrics.
We must continue doing commercial music for the radio. All of our success came from them.
What did you just say? We compose and create melodies because it's our passion, what we love to do, not for the enjoyment of companies selling us as a trademark.
You misunderstood. What I mean was that we should continue working for satisfying the global fan base that we have achieved to the years.
That's it, we must employ our influence combined with our proper style to generate a massive and innovative conscious social revolution, not to devote singles just related to love. Do not you agree with me, Ringo?
I would prefer not to get preferences about any opinion.
That's it, I'm leaving.
Irritated Paul left the studio shortly before 5 a.m. in his white Austin Harley. I record it was raining heavily. About 1 hour later, John, Ringo, and I gave up and returned home, still a little disconcerted for the discussion between our two dear friends. Right then, however, an official black van pulled up in front of us. An officer came out of the automobile and showed his plaque.
Detective Maxwell, nice to meet you. In the sad obligation to inform you that Mr. Paul McCartney has been involved in a terrible traffic accident.
What? Is he injured?
We don't know with certainty. Just come with us, please.
Maxwell explained to us that he was dispatched from MI5 because it was a high-profile situation. He said his officers were at the scene of a disaster involving a white Austin Harley, and that a woman named Rita was insisting the dead man was Paul McCartney. We needed to verify if the corpse obtained was really from our mate. We were in absolute shock and promptly drove 3 miles in order to appreciate a completely wrecked white car. The worst was coming. We were taken to a body covered by a sheet. Maxwell lifted up the blanket, and what we saw was ghastly. We could not believe it. After exchanging a few brief words, John, Ringo, and I went to a secret house of MI5. All we could do at that time was mourn from our lost friend. A few minutes later, the officer entered us to our room.
Oh, tell me. I have made some calls, and Her Majesty's government thinks that if McCartney's death is made public, a rush of suicides will follow. Therefore, you have to keep it a secret as long as possible. I simply can't support it.
We must take a decision. Although my pain for Paul is unmeasurable, and this is against our ideals. What the guy said is true. We cannot take responsibility for more tragedies and make this event even worse than it is.
He is right. We should take action. Our fans will be devastated if we know that Paul is dead. This may be sound and considered or frigid, but we must find a reliable replacement for him.
We have got enough time before the next album comes out.
Are you listening to yourselves? No one or nothing can ever replace Paul. I think in order to honor his friendship, we must tell the fans the truth.
Didn't you hear the officer? Many people would die if that comes to light. Please foresee the situation.
I just don't know what to do. I am responsible for Paul's death.
I knew the Beatles were finished without Paul. Anyhow, despair made us realize the magnitude of his early departure. The band was at the peak of its creativity. John and Paul had composed an extensive list of songs. We had a meeting and agreed that we would not stop or give up. With the purpose of remembering Paul and our fans, we decided to hide visual and phonetic clues of the accident on the covers and lyrics of our next songs that could be easily decoded by followers and admirers. So, succeeding a complicated casting election and a series of plastic operations, we found someone capable of replacing the physical spot of Paul for a while and become a new Beatle, William Campbell.
Yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay.